Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm here today to review the Nisekoi episode 17. Now, this episode, I'm sorry, I just got back from my friend's house, but this episode is the cliche episode that you would see from this type of anime. Alright, and there's two cliche types of episode that happen in every anime that's like this. You have the festival episode, and then you have the beach or pool episode. We've already had a pool episode. This is the festival episode. There may still even be a beach episode, but we don't know yet. Alright. So, or the manga viewers know. The manga readers. The anime viewers do not know yet. Which, I haven't read the manga. I've only read like the first 3 chapters of the manga. Then I started watching the anime. Well, anyway. Here's what happens. You get to the festival, right? And you got Raku, and everyone from his house is basically running stands at the festival. So basically Raku could get anything there he wanted for free. But Raku's working the festival. And as he's working the festival, he decides he's going to take some snacks to some of the other festival, the other festival stands. And so he's going to take the snacks over there, and he meets Chitoge. And Chitoge's like, why the hell would I have to see you on a day like this? And Raku says the same thing. He's like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm just trying to have fun. Why you ask that? And then, as they're sitting there communicating, one of the other people from his house that he was working the stand with runs up to him and said, here's some beer, take that to the guys as well. And then, right as he does that, he sees that Chitoge is there, and he's like, oh, you're such a selfless person working while your girlfriend's here at the festival. And he's like, let us take care of this day, and you two go have a date. Alright, so basically after that, they're both sitting there like, I have to do this, because they were just trying to have a time on their own. Raku's whole thing was to work as hard as he could until the end of the day, and when they gave him some time off, he was going to go buy a relationship charm for Onodera. And basically, Chitoge finds out that she can get anything for free as long as she's with him, and proceeds to ask him on a date. And he's like, you're doing this because it's free? And they wind up going to one stand, that's the fishing stand, the little net fishing stand with a little flimsy ass piece of paper. And Chitoge keeps failing on it. And then Raku says, here, let me give it a try, and then catches several of them. And then the stand keeper's like, you always clear us out every year, so I've got a challenge for you this year. And then brings a big fish about that long, about yay wide around, and he manages to catch it with a net. And then everyone's shocked around him. And he turns them all back in except for 2 of them. He bags them up for Chitoge and says, here, you couldn't handle all of them right now. I'll teach you how to feed these later. Chitoge notices these yukatas around, which are basically the Japanese, the traditional Japanese style dress of, like, I think it was called a kimono or something. That's the way I remember them being called. But apparently they're yukatas now. I'm not sure if there's a difference between the way they're made, or there's a difference between the two at all. But if you know, post that in the description, because that'd be something I'd be interested in, and I'd be appreciative of that. But so right after that, Raku sees that they're selling their relationship charms, and basically says, Chitoge, wait right here, I'm gonna buy something over there that I've been waiting to buy. And Chitoge's like, we'll get split up because there's a huge crowd. And grabs his hand and he's like, it can't be helped, so I'll follow you into the crowd and hold my hand. So he goes up there, he buys the charm, and as soon as he buys the charm, her hand slips. They manage to get separated. Chitoge winds up all the way at the outside of the crowd, and then Raku thinks he sees Chitoge's hand, so he grabs her and pulls her in. And it's actually Onodera's hand, so as soon as he bought the charm, he got to spend some time with Onodera, which is what he wanted, and Onodera was happy because even though she didn't get to buy a charm, she's getting to spend this time with Raku. So they're spending time together, and all of a sudden the cat steals his charm. So he starts chasing it down, and he sees Tachibana there. And the cat's on a post right behind Tachibana, so he's running at Tachibana, and he grabs her, and he's like, don't move. And then he starts leaning in like Tachibana thinks he's trying to give a kiss, and she's like, you're being too aggressive all of a sudden. And then he grabs her by the shoulder and leans in, and then tries to snatch at the cat and misses her. And then Tachibana just sitting there like in shock, and mixed of shock and confusion or whatever. And then Raku starts chasing the cat and actually runs into Sugumi and Tachibana were both there to buy a relationship charm, and so was Onodera. Pretty much all the girls were there to buy a charm for Raku, and Raku was there to buy a charm for Onodera. And basically, she runs into Sugumi. Sugumi's doing the shooting game at the festival where you have to shoot the little things and knock them down. And she's fell and is like, she's like, what's a piece of crap little gun? And Raku picks it up and knocks it down and wins her a prize and asks her if she's seen where a cat went. And she's like, that way, when the whole time the cat had dropped the relationship charm right beside him and kept running. So he goes to chase after the cat, and the cat comes back and picks up the charm and takes off. And basically, after that, the cat manages to run towards Chitoge, and by this time, Chitoge's actually dressed in a yukata and grabs the relationship charm. It's like, here, is this for you? Then gives it back to him, and then basically Raku's like, why'd you dress in that? And she's like, I was curious, it was on impulse. And she's like, I don't even really know if a good look at it. And Raku's like, well, you do look good, really good, actually. So it's the first time Raku's really extraordinarily complimented Chitoge, at least right to her face anyway. See, he said that he don't really like her, but she's not all that bad. She's like a gorilla, but she's got her good traits as well. He even told that straight to Tachibana. And basically, as they're walking away, Chitoge noticed a sign that if a man gives a woman a relationship charm, it's like a proposal. And then Raku starts to think, a man shouldn't be carrying one of these, it'd be something a girl carries. So he tosses the relationship to Chitoge and like, here you go, you can have this. And Chitoge's like, what now? All of a sudden, he's like, you only just realized this now? And she's like, Raku's like, yeah, I only just realized it now. I just didn't think a man should be carrying it around. That's what he's thinking. But he says, I just realized it now. So not Tachibana, but Chitoge's shocked as hell. And then Raku sees on the board what it actually says. He's like, no, I didn't mean nothing like that. And the whole time after she gets the relationship charm, her yukata's falling off because she didn't tie it right. And Raku's basically holding it up for her at this point. Then Raku sees the sign and he gets shocked and just basically drops it. And so you get to see a bit of cleavage, but not like full-on cleavage. So it's there for the perverts that are there. Or, I mean, I don't think you have to be a full pervert to want to see something like that, but to want to continuously see that over and over again, you'd have to be a pervert. But yeah. So that's there for the perverts, and then you got no plot progression really. It's like a sitcom at this point for this episode, and I'm glad they got to touch up on a little bit of Sugumi, because Sugumi, like, she's in love with him, but she never really gets like actually put into the mix hardly. We also got Maiko, I believe that's his name. Him and his two friends basically got rejected 96 times, and one of the times the relationship charm actually fell into his head. He's like, and he picks it up, he's like, a relationship charm, and then immediately he sees a girl that he thinks hot, kind of looks like Onodera from behind, but then when he goes to talk to her, it's actually Onodera's best friend, and she kicks the shit out of him, which made me laugh a good bit. But you have that as well. I mean, the character progression, we got to see a little bit of what we already knew, really, about what they think about, what each person thinks about Raku spending the time with one of the other girls. Overall, we didn't really have any type of plot or anime progression. Plot or character progression, I meant to say. So basically it's like a sitcom on this. So I can just judge it by what I thought of the episode. And what I thought of the episode, it's so cliche, but still decent. I can't give it such a high rating as 9 or 10, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And that's my thoughts on the guys. Peace.